I hope it's training when I barged you and you spun around in the air, arms and legs up with this like a starfish.
Hello amateurs, and welcome to episode 3 of the Amateur Rugby Podcast. Here to help soothe your Sunday morning hangover with some chuckle-filled rugby chat about the grassroots of the game. I'm your host Tim, and today I'm in Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia. Just taking a nice stroll along the banks of the Ljubljanica River. Here you can hear some motorboats going along in the background. There's some folks canoeing up and down as well, and the banks are filled with restaurants and cafes. It's a great place for an evening drink. I hope you all enjoyed your games yesterday. I never much enjoyed these early season fixtures. Hard ground for a big man wearing 22mm studs. It's very hard on the feet, and the late summer sun was none too kind on my big bold head. But anyway, I hope your games went well, and you got the performances that you're looking for. Hope you enjoyed last week's episode with Matt Townsend. Had some lovely positive feedback, including this from Luke Walden. Loved the pod. I even welled up a couple of times. Thanks, Lukey, you silly old sod. But my guest this week is Martin Davey. Martin and I were teammates for many years at Old Colfeians and spent 3 more seasons running the team as DOR and First 15 manager. This interview was recorded in August of 2019, and we covered all kinds of topics. Favourite chocolate brands, clubhouse sing-songs, social media shaming, well, the list goes on. We even talked about some rugby. I love chatting to Martin, and I hope you enjoy it too. So please welcome my friend, Martin Davey. So, Martin Davey,
hello.
Welcome to the Amateur Rugby Podcast.
Oh, I wanted to shake your hand.
Well, we can shake hands. Shake hands. I mean, the listeners can't see it, but they can feel it.
It was natural.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I wanted to start off, Mark, with where it started for you. Where did your rugby playing days begin?
When I successfully passed the 11 plus, and I went to Chislehurst and Sidcup Grammar School as an out-and-out footballer. Was told straight away, because I was a man boy, 5'10" and 15 stone at 11, that I'd be well suited to rugby.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. That was exactly the same as my start to rugby. All in a footballer. Didn't really have any interest in rugby whatsoever, and then went to a grammar school, and the same kind of thing happened to me. Mm-hmm. So what was the first club that you played for after school?
The first club that we played for, well, the first club would have been Thames Poly.
Right.
And we started playing there when we was 16 after the 5th year. And at that time, even they had 6 sides. They was turning out 6 sides on a Saturday. I've got a lot of love for Thames Poly. It's a club that's folded now. Right. But they were as junior club or amateur as you could get.
What kind of examples of their amateur status could you give?
Just blokes wearing odd kit, blokes with skinny blokes wearing really massive baggy shorts, blokes that were scared of the ball. It was I don't want to do them down, because they was great, and as a introduction to men's rugby, it sort of like showed you, ooh, this is a bit scary, because I don't want to sit on the wing of a plane that's alight and get chucked 10 cups of beer over me at the end of the day, because I'm new and they're just playing with me as a little toy. But yeah, no, I loved them. But that was, they weren't very good. That's the thing. But
so your rugby ambitions kind of overtook it in the end, or?
I suppose so, because we were very young then. That was just sort of like Andy Sweeting got us involved because his brother had gone to Thames Poly. Okay. So he got us all involved, and a few of us from school went and played there. But yeah, and then sixth form came about, so that's not after school really. But after sixth form, we all went to play at Dartfordians. Right. Which is another great club. I love Dart still. There was Griff, Dave, me, Barry, well, not that you know Barry. Oh, you do know
I
Barry.
do know Barry.
Yeah, sort of like after a lot of people that ended up in their Colf's career were with us.
Came through that same
Neil
pathway.
Baker. Oh, and Neil Baker. Who can forget Neil Baker? The man that single-handedly lost us the King Cup final by diving over a bouncing ball in the dead ball area.
What, in your own dead ball area?
No,
or
our own dead ball area,
right.
yeah. And I think we lost something like 10-5 to Tunbridge Wells. And it's haunted every single one of us that went on to Colf since.
So, have you forgiven him for that?
No, God, never.
Do you mention it every time you see him?
A lot of times we played rugby over the last 20 years, yeah, definitely.
But you've retired now?
Yes.
You and Neil retired on the same day?
Yes, although he has, cheated and he's played with his boy Charlie at Colf's in the Freeze. Yeah, I mean, it just hurts too much now to play. My fingers hurt, my ankles hurt, my knees hurt. I'm fairly sure I need 2 hip replacements.
But retired from the game, or not playing so much, certainly, but you're still doing your bit at Colf's Rugby as social media manager?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of like just a couple of Twitter posts and whatever. I've always been a big fan of following the local clubs, reading local clubs' websites, because that's really where my interest is. I don't watch any rugby on the TV.
No.
I couldn't even tell, other than maybe 6 sides, I couldn't tell you who's in the Premiership. But I do follow it. I know that. Going on to rugger ball stuff. I was reading about that Leeds Carnegie situation, and it just needs someone to stand up and say, hold on, rugby ain't sustainable outside of the International Order Premiership as a thing. Because you look at clips of it, if you see it on the telly or photographs in the newspaper, the stands are empty. Yeah.
And to be honest, it's only just become sustainable in the Premiership. And some would say probably, for some clubs it still isn't. I'm inclined to agree. I think it's slowly getting closer, but at the moment it's still not. It's still on the whim of a lot of wealthy people, really.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, let's rewind a little bit and go back to when we first met, which was playing for Old Colfeians. Mm-hmm. And I thought I'd bring up a little story which I'm pretty sure you would have brought up anyway. Something a fond memory.
I hope it's training when I barged you and you spun around in the air, arms and legs up with you like a starfish.
Martin, that's exactly that's exactly what it was. So let me just set the scene a little bit here for the listeners. It was a cold, wet, probably a Tuesday night, I'd imagine. We were doing a bit of contact, weren't we?
Yep.
And, the floodlights are terrible at Old Colfeians, so most of our contact work was done within about 10 square metres. And I can't remember the exact scenario, but Martin here was carrying the ball towards an attempted tackle by myself, and you might want to take over.
Well, I'd already had a tremendous success that night when I was on a bag and Dave Rogers came running at the bag to hit it really hard. And I just gave him the old 1 step to the side, and he fell face first in the dirt. So I'd already had a good night anyway. And as I say, I had the ball, you came to tackle me, I just stepped into you, and you flew backwards in the air like you was the stuntman on one of them retractable lines, with your arms and legs spinning like a starfish.
Now, you were very, very happy with yourself at the time, God, yeah. I remember. But you'll be even more happy to know that I think... I've been, racking my brains. Honestly, that's a handful of times in my entire career, whether playing or training, that's ever happened to me. So,
thank you. I'm a tough guy to tackle. That's why I've scored over 1,000 tries, Tim. I'm hard to tackle, yeah.
So, I'll sort of carry on the story here. So, this thing happened. I've picked myself back up off the ground, and shortly later, Ian Martin, I think, was running the session, brought everybody in, and he was trying to make a serious point about whatever it was that we just did. And Martin was stood like the opposite side of the circle to me. And I was busy listening to Ian, and then suddenly I just saw out the corner of my eye Martin doing like Mr. Olympia poses to show how strong he was.
You've remembered it a lot better than I have. I just remember the initial hit and the spinning arms and legs.
So Ian Martin was trying to make this point, and essentially he had to give up because everyone was just laughing at you trying to, doing the big strong man.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it was good.
That's the impact on your career.
Yeah, stayed with me, that one, it really has. Okay, so moving on, Martin, you got a reputation for lots of things, but I want to know about how you got the nickname the Laser.
Oh, well, the Laser comes from, some people have only just found out about it, but obviously there's a lot of younger players that I've never known at the club that they call me Laser and they don't know why. And it's nothing more than, obviously, that first year that we got to the 3rd division, Towner was playing 10, another one of your guests,
yep.
And I was playing 12 the majority of the year. And, we tried to invent another move rather than Rangi, which every club in the whole world does and calls it the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So Towner just came up with this simple move, which was basically a pass from 10 to 12.
Right.
Yeah, and that was it.
That sounds really simple.
And for some reason, every week, against every side, whether they was top of the league or bottom of the league, sometimes it worked repeatedly. I think against Cinderford and Redroof, it worked sort of like 2 or 3 times in a game. Just literally a pass from 10 to 12, 12 running like a short line. And Warren Evans, one of Colfeians' great stalwarts at that time, was very keen on sort of like Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers trilogy and putting his little finger to his mouth every time. Oh, like that. And he just merely said after one game or something, oh, you went through him like a laser. I'm saying laser like Dr. Evil says it with quotation marks. And for some reason, Laser just stuck. And for that year, a lot of people just referred to me as Laser.
Yeah, it will be with you forever.
But like most nickname stories, it's generally a shit story.
I disagree. I remember one in particular. It was Penzance Newlyn away before they were called the Cornish Pirates, and I talk about this game with Towner as well. But it was
one of the highlights that day or that weekend was one of the highlights of my rugby career.
Well, the Laser worked that day.
Yes, it did. 14-7 down at half time. We were.
Put Mark Jarrett in the corner, I think.
Wixie scored, I believe.
Was it Wixie?
Yeah, I believe it was. Who was jet lagged coming off of the plane. I think he'd only just landed from Australia.
Right, nice.
I think so, yeah. But that was another 50, 60 metre break. Literally just a pass from 10 to 12.
Yeah, it should be said there's a few other things going on as well. But.
Yeah. But the highlight of that day for me is after, obviously second half, it was 14-7 at half time. I think we got ironed out 66-7 or something like that. The highlight for me is as we came in through the changing rooms, they was getting totally roasted by their DOR about letting such a soft try in. Well, give us some credit, mate. Look at us. We're just here for a party. We'd been only one drink. Don't go mad, as Smithy said on the Friday night. Yeah, 2 o'clock. We're still there having it. 12 o'clock. We're in town at the local bakery eating Cornish pasties. No, that ain't the food and the diet and the preparation of champions.
Still, we had a good day.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about another day in Cornwall/Devon. This is a question from Towner, actually. He wanted to ask about your day with Mark Fatialofa when we played against Launceston.
Well, it was a very short day, really. In fact, it wasn't short, really. Ollie Chapman had him. I was on the bench to start that day. Mark Fatialofa, I think he'd had 26 Western Samoa caps or something around that time. Clearly better than me. Other than Colfs, I wouldn't have got in any other first 15. Certainly in that league. But Ollie wanted to come off because obviously he'd had a grim day of it. And I went on. And I think it was within about 2 minutes of coming on, I'd got my hands on him, tried to tackle him, and I think I caught an elbow, an arm in the face or something, or a shoulder. but my nose obliterated into 1,000 pieces. I was crawling around on the floor, sort of like a pool of blood. But I didn't come off, I don't think.
I don't think you did. Yeah.
I didn't come off because at the end there's photographs of the pitch, the team walking off the pitch.
Right.
I just had cotton wool and played on. But from a tough old group, it was 4 points a try and no replacements when I started playing men's rugby. It's none of this sort of like the match day 22, and I know obviously there's me saying I don't know about rugby, the finishers, there's a big thing about England calling it that, plus the fact I've gone all that way to Devon. Christ, I want to play as long as I can.
Exactly.
I want to earn my drink.
Exactly. So your nose was literally all across your face after that. But you've had it done, haven't you?
Yes, I've had a open septoplasty just around about 18 years later.
And
I mean, I wasn't in a great hurry to get it done.
So, like, snoring, is that improved?
The snoring did improve recently, but on the flip side of that, I've put on a couple of stone and overweight people snore a lot more. So true. It's just made the airwaves a lot clearer so I can snore louder.
Perfect. Right, just lean into the microphone here and give us a big in-breath through your nose. It's pretty clear. I'm going to do the same. I think I might need to have mine done as well.
Well, the difference is you can do it both nostrils now. Previous to that, only one nostril.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to look that up. So, moving on to a different style of rugby that we play together, and I'm not sure if you know this actually. I'm pretty sure I've never told you, but you're obviously a firefighter.
Yes.
Firefighter. I was also a firefighter.
I knew that.
You did know that?
Yeah.
And I actually joined the job mostly because of your influence. I'm not sure if you... Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so we used to go to away trips and Martin would always, sit on the back seat regaling us with tales of, things that he's done at work. Some of them, heroic, most of them hilarious. And I was a bit fed up with my job at the time and it just sounded like that's something that I could really, really get into. So it was a lot to do with you and your stories that made me do that.
I'm glad we were recruiting at the time because we're not under this draconian Tory government at the moment.
Oh, I knew it. So just the Fire-Brigade, there's a very similar ethos in my opinion to rugby clubs. So I don't know if you want to try and some maybe examples of stuff where it's could be comparable.
Oh God, no. I mean, yes, you do have a lot of witty stories. I mean, when you go somewhere and sort of like people say to you, "Oh, come and meet Martin, mate." I mean, Luke Walden, he's the worst one for introducing you to anyone as a firefighter. Oh, come and meet Martin. He's a firefighter. Well, he says fireman because he's on PC, but it's a really bizarre thing. Yes, I do tell a lot of stories, but I generally only tell the stories that are funny. Because a lot of people want to speak to you. I don't know how this is going on about rugby. This is like a political broadcast. Sometimes people want to take they'll say to you about, oh, tell us, oh, you must have seen some things. I'll tell you. Yeah, but why do I want to tell you, for your entertainment, about a day that I probably don't really want to remember, and it's sort of like that's why you have to pick and choose and probably go over the same funny stories a lot, where if someone has got something, a cock ring stuck on them or something,
for example,
or kids stuck in a toilet, things like that. Yeah. They're the funny stories that I don't mind telling, but someone, it's different because obviously if you're with like-minded people, you might have those conversations. But if I was just in a pub with a stranger, it's not a
keep the funny ones.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how that relates to rugby.
Well, just kind of teamwork and that kind of bond and stuff like that, I guess, is where I was headed with that.
But it's not. Is it really teamwork now? Do you still not think that forward sit over one table and the back sit on the other table?
Well, I think
and then there's floaters between the two.
Yeah, maybe. I guess that depends which team you're part of and how much that's valued. But who knows? But we did play some. We played some rugby together for a fire service team.
Yes.
The Mooseheads, which is a phenomenal name for a rugby team.
Yeah.
Do you know the origin of that?
I don't know. Funny enough, I'm going away with the Mooses next week. We've got a brewery tour to Shepherd Knee next Tuesday. I mean, we are still the only rugby only rugby club. We still get kit each year, you know, but we don't get no playing kit. We just get like t-shirts and shit. We've just got like the controversial going back. I mean, it's probably not going to. That first year that we was doing the first team, and I got the controversial white short sleeve shirts.
Right, yeah.
Which were controversial, but
this
now,
is for Old Colfeians.
Yeah, Old Colfeians. But now they're seen as sort of like an amazing piece of stash. And if you see one, we have just got short sleeve Moosehead shirts. Similar to that.
With a button-down collar?
With a button-down collar, short
pocket?
Sleeve. No pocket.
No
We've gone for
pocket.
the pocket.
Okay.
I think the pocket was a quid extra, and you know what we're like, we're firefighters, we're just looking to save money anywhere we can get. The Mooses was great. I joined at a time, when did you join the Fire-Brigade?
Good question. 96? 96.
96?
2006.
I was going to say, yeah.
2006.
That's before me. I've inspired you so much to join a year before I thought about doing it.
2006.
Yeah, no, I joined at a time where sport was, you know, very, very actively encouraged and what have you, and you would get the day off of work to go and play. You know, I played for the Brigade Rugby League side as well. So sometimes you'd find yourself having Wednesday afternoon off, or Wednesday to play rugby, Sunday to play rugby, and then other people at the station would be, oh, fucking hell, I can't, my missus is ill, I can't even get leave, and he's off playing rugby, you know. But eventually, they stopped all that leave, same as they have done in the police and everything like that, and it's sort of like killed brigade sport overnight. Yeah. But because of your name, of who you are, you had a lot of good fixtures as well. People want to play. People want to beat the London Fire-Brigade, you know. So, you know, you had at that time, we had a very strong fixture list when I first sort of like 97, 98. You know, you'd be playing army sides. I think we even played the Royal Navy and things like that. And it was good, you know, and obviously you had the National Cup, which was another trip around the country to play. Cornwall were always in our group. They're always really good at rugby. Very special times, and still in touch with a lot of the guys that did play it.
In fact, I played, maybe half a dozen of games, I think maybe for the Mooseheads, and one of them was against Cornwall. Away, and legendary referee Tony Spreaders, Tony Spreadbury turned up to ref it.
What did he say? He said, they'll have me on a treadmill when they're doing a fitness session. If I can get a game, that's it. I'm out of fitness training for the week.
Yeah, he was the most old school of old school referees. Yeah, he didn't want to do any fitness work, so he just picked up whatever games he could during the week. Good man. And of course, this led to you playing for England.
I did play for the England Fire Service, which also you did.
Yes, I did.
Along with another Colfeians member, Quilts.
Matt Quilter, yeah.
It was good. We played, we got probably, a lot of the Mooses came up, and it was good because at that time, rugby-wise, they were my rugby mates, and they all came to Wales. We played in Cardiff. It was a nice little stadium. It was a proper stadium. I can't remember that. But yeah, we played the Welsh, and it was awesome, man. They proper ironed us out. But Cardiff's a good night out. Yeah. You know? It's not all bad.
Yeah, as Luke Walden would say, win or lose.
On the booze, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Mark, I think we'll have a half-time break today, and we'll continue in a minute.
Thank you.
Right, Martin, welcome back.
Thanks.
What have you got in front of you there?
A tea.
Cup of tea. What else?
A biscuit.
Lovely. Now, I've done this deliberately because when I used to be director of rugby at Old Colfeians, Martin was team manager, and he used to love going off at half time, whether we're home or away, and get to the tea stand, and he'll come back after I've done my half time team talk with a lovely hot cup of tea, and usually a Kit Kat was a favourite.
Yeah, it depends. Kit Kat's not my chocolate bar of choice, but they're from the Mars, that type of factory.
Yeah.
I'm a Cadbury man through and
really?
through. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was such a nice thing to like, after you've done the halftime team talk as the head coach or director of rugby, you're kind of done really for the day then. You know, there may be a few substitutions and stuff like that later on, but in terms of the amount of energy you've got to put into the game, like you're kind of done there. So it was lovely to just like cap it with a cup of tea and a chocolate biscuit and sit down and watch the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Definitely.
So what, you were team manager for 4 years?
4 years.
And what were some of the highlights of those 4 years?
Well, not just the highlights. One of my favourite Colfeian moments was when we got promoted in the year. And I've always felt a bit gutted for you that it never happened when you was there. But certainly you've obviously had an influence in it. And then Luke came in and Haggis went to DOR.
This is Luke Fielden and Adam Hodgkiss.
Yeah. But it was just an amazing thing. I was so happy that day. Great doing it away from home. We took 2 coach loads of people with us. Stampy had his megaphone.
Because it was a playoff, isn't it?
It was a playoff, yeah, against the team Camberley, who hadn't lost for over 6 months and were ironing sides out by 60, 70 points a week. And I just don't think they was ready for the big lads up front, O'Malley and Laddie and what have you. And I can't even remember. I think it was 21-18 the score. But yeah, what a fantastic day. So I would put that up there with one of my main Colfeian highlights.
Really? The whole thing, playing, managing?
Yeah, because you're still part of it. If you look back at my Colfeian career, so I think I went to Colfs 98, 99, so that's 20 years I've been there. You know, I had a few seasons in like where I would say I was a whole season first 15 player. I've played in the first 15 for virtually every year. So I've played with a lot of those players that was in that promotion side. Excuse me, that's my tea and biscuits. So I'd played a lot with them, you know, their first games when they're 16, 17-year-old school kids, and now they're obviously a lot older and men and what have you. So I had a connection with them as players and as, not an adult really, just a bloke that bought in the water and the shirts and stuff. It was wonderful. I don't really know what more I can say about it. You know, are we coming on to highlights and lowlights?
Yeah, go on, do some more.
What do we want?
Colfeian highlights.
Colfeian highlights. Well, as I said, the promotion. The next season when I walked away and then they got relegated, I'd like to think that, you know, it's because they missed me and what have you. Possibly the lowest that I've ever felt down the club was this season when we lost in that semi-final to Matson.
Sounds like a horrible, horrible day. I was in an airport somewhere. I think I was in the States, and I was following it on Twitter, or there was WhatsApp group and stuff going on as well, and it sounded heartbreaking. It was, yeah.
I mean, I mean, I've never normally given a fuck about any sport, you know. Once the final whistle goes, whatever, you know, it ain't my job, it's just something I've always done. But I just felt really disappointed for the lads, because that's finished now, I think, that cup. You know.
So just a bit of backstory, that was a semi-final
of the Intermediate Cup,
right?
Which is community rugby. We play what's termed under community rugby, and that is unfortunately the area of rugby that's got a load of the RFU cups now because they've got no money. So that finals day is deemed to be too expensive for the RFU to run, so they've taken it away. So I just wanted to be we could have been Intermediate Cup champions for eternity. You know, in 2050, the lads could have been running out on the pitch with still around the Old Colfeians badge. I don't know if it's a horse or a stag. It still looks
mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, and it could still say underneath it, Intermediate Cup champions, because we would have been forever.
Yeah, heartbreaking. And a really dominant performance first half as well, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, 18-0 at the break.
Yeah.
And lost 19-18. Oh, dear.
Okay, anyway, let's go back to a different story. Let's talk about the day when I was unveiled as the
Yes.
DOR of Old Colfeians.
Yes, stood in the broom cupboard for 5 minutes. Yeah, it was funny. But that's another thing, you know, sort of like, I've been involved in a lot of shit that's gone on at Colfs. You know, I was involved in our cup final song when we recorded a song.
Yep. It's been mentioned on the pod before.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, which was really funny, you know. Who'd have thought that we would have actually made a genuine song in a recording studio? But yeah, so the unveiling of Tim Tunnicliffe as a DOR, was it the worst kept secret? Yeah, I think everyone knew who it was.
So just explain what happened on the day.
Well, about a week before, I'd been involved in a lot of sort of like little videos or Twitter things from the website, you know, about bombarding me. Stop asking me questions. I'm going to make no comment. There's no comment. And yeah, Towner, who was here, he hired a meeting room at Deloitte's, and we had like a full-on press conference with loads of cameras going off and recording devices on the and sort of like the first team captain Johnny Mack, me, and Tim, and it was sort of like a press conference, you know, like you would see on Sky Sports. It was ridiculous. I think it's up to about 168 views now on YouTube.
Yeah, it is. It is on YouTube. So look at the Colf's Rugby channel on YouTube, and you can see that if you want. And something that you mentioned just a minute ago, to do the big unveiling, I obviously had to appear from somewhere, and it just seemed like the only logical place was the cupboard,
the broom cupboard behind it. Yeah, they didn't know. It looked off stage. You know, we was next to a picture of. Hadn't you swapped your face for Barack Obama's the Hope and what have you?
Hope poster. But the fun thing about that, there was lots of fun things about that, but I had people genuinely like phone me up and send me messages saying like, "Oh, congratulations! This looks amazing." And honestly,
how much are you on? 100 grand a year? No, mate, we're level 7. It's pretty shit.
Honestly, loads of people really thought it was a genuine thing. So, to the people that organised that, big thumbs up, because it came across.
It was amazing.
Yeah, very well indeed. Okay, so you know this bit might be a low light for you, Martin.
What's that?
It's
it's
the
selection gate.
Social media haranguing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're referring to that bloody kick.
Yeah.
So
just outline exactly.
The story is the Vets were playing in the Evergreen Cup, or whatever it's called these days, the Spitfire Gold Late Red Veterans Trophy, and we was playing Charlton Park Sunday afternoon. They've still got a lot of first 15 players who are vets, you know, sort of like we had 5-10 years ago. So yeah, we're playing at Charlton Park. We're 20 points down. It's the last play of the game. Charlton Park have got a try, a scrum on their own line, and their standoff, Alan Nucky, he's done this backwards kick. It's gone over his head. He's run on and caught it and run the length of the pitch, and that's it. As we said, you know, nice bit of skill. I mean, I'm not sure that any one of our team would have chased back if it was the first minute of the game, let alone if it was 20 minutes down in the last minute.
Nobody moved at all, did they?
No, because the game's finished and there's certainly no way that I'm running 100 metres. So no, that was that. Anyway, we've all changed, gone in the bar, that's it. And then as the week's gone on, it's appeared online. Someone on the side has filmed this kick. Excuse me. You can obviously get it online. I filmed this kick, and then that has just opened up a fucking can of worms for me, where I have become this hate figure on the internet. I mean, I say hate figure. I reckon it was close to being 50-50 between good comments. I mean, I wasn't named in any of the things or anything, but people were just sending me screenshots from rugby chat rooms and what have you. Fucking look at the fat 11, he's a fucking disgrace. He's two props wearing a one shirt stitched to two ones stitched together. He shouldn't even be on a pitch, you know, he turns slower than the Titanic, you know, all things like that. Just like this real hate. But on the flip side of that, then there's a load of people with comments saying like, oh, it's thanks to blokes like him that, you know, we have games each week and what have you. So there was a lot of love, but there was also a lot of hate directed to me for no reason. I mean, all I did was I turned round, Hughesy overtook me with the flag, running touch, and I think I gave him a clap because it was a nice bit of skill.
You did, you applauded him at the end. Yeah.
But I'm certainly not running 80, 90 yards in the final minute when we're already 20 down. What's my end game there?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Exactly.
So, that was... And I occasionally still get... Someone shares it again and then there's a new batch of vitriol from abuse from New Zealand or something like that. But yeah, they all jumped on it. Jamie Roberts, Graham Swan, he commended me for my laziness. So I laughed when he got knocked out of Strictly, and I didn't vote for him purposefully. And one of my mates had an argument. Yeah, one of my mates had an argument with Gabby Logan. A Twitter spat with Gabby Logan over it because she put her tuppence in.
Oh God, the modern world, Twitter. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's interesting though, isn't it, that even in the depths of amateur rugby and the sort of the end of a vets game.
I mean, that could break some people. Yeah. Shit like that, internet bullying.
Not you, Mark.
Not me. I don't give a fuck. I just don't read it. I mean, why would I be in an internet chat? An internet rugby chat room. I don't even like rugby, despite the fact I've played it for 35 years.
So this is a section about the laws of the game, Martin.
Oh yeah. Haven't I done that already?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right.
How would you rate yourself in terms of knowing the laws of rugby union?
I know forward pass.
Yeah.
Oh Christ! I mean, out of 10, I would probably score myself a 2.
Okay. So I've gone pretty easy on you here. So as I always say, just because nobody understands the laws, or certainly not fully, it doesn't mean we shouldn't try and and improve and try and get better. So with that in mind, Martin, it's time to find out if you are a rugger law.
Sir, are you sure that's correct?
Martin, here's your rugby law question.
Yes.
Okay. A player makes a tackle and lands towards the opposition side of the tackle. He gets up immediately and picks up the ball. Is it A, a penalty to the ball carrier's team, or B, play on?
See, I feel like you're only giving me half the info. Has he been held in the tackle?
So the tackled player was held, yes, but it's the tackler who's got up.
The tackler has got up.
You can ask more questions if you want.
So the tackler's got up. I'm wanting to say, play on, because...
Yeah?
He's not held. There's only 2 at the breakdown, so it ain't a ruck. Don't you need 3 or 4 or something?
No, but it isn't a ruck. You're correct.
Isn't a ruck, so it's just open play. The ball's on the floor. Pick it up and go some.
It's incorrect.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Mine, Davey. You are not a rugger law ball.
Oh, God.
No, unfortunately, the law says that, and I'll read it for you because I've got the quote.
Can I just ask, have they recently just changed that?
Like 3 years ago?
Oh, okay, yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like a few seasons.
I mean, the last time I read the law book was never. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so what the law book says is tacklers may play the ball, but from the direction of their own goal line. So what that means is he had to get up and get back round to his side of the tackle before picking the ball up.
All these caveats, isn't there?
There is.
To make the game so boring.
Okay, so we'll move on now to stash rugby kit. Everybody loves a bit of stash. I've not known a single player to not get excited on stash day. So, Martin, what's your favourite bit of kit or stash that you've received as a player or coach, manager, whatever? Any capacity?
I've never really been a rugby kit wearer. Ooh. But, I mean, I do enjoy some stuff. One year we got Argyle sweaters from Nick Evans in the vet.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
You know, we had like a big navy blue with gold diamonds on. That's still in my wardrobe, and that's from like 15 years ago.
Okay, another stash question. What's your favourite kit of all time? It can be any team, any era.
Basically, with the exception of one season that they went a little bit awry, basically anything France wear.
Right.
They turn up every year and they pull out a banger.
Yeah.
And you just look at it and I think, because I actually watch international rugby during the Six Nations, I look at the French kit and think, ooh, that's nice. So there's a World Cup coming up. I expect they'll have the best kit in this World Cup again.
It's likely. Yeah. They do look good in their kit.
Yes.
It's a good one. Good answer. And is there any current stash crush? So, like, is there a current kit that you particularly like?
On account of... I saw on Twitter, because as I say, I'm in my capacity of Old Colfeians social media man, and I was scrolling through. I saw Plymouth Albion the other day have just signed a Croatian.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, because as I was scrolling up, I saw this Croatian thing, and it's the same as their football kit, red and white check squares. And I thought to myself, fucking hell, he's big for a footballer, isn't he? But then I realised it was obviously a rugby player. And I quite liked the Croatia kit. I mean, if you ain't seen it, just...
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, you need to scroll the internet for a little bit deeper.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll link it up in the show notes below.
There you go,
we'll make sure people can see that.
Yeah, I think he's a Croatian second row, going to Plymouth Albion.
Nice. Okay, Mark. Well, that's kind of everything for me. But I know you've got a list over.
Well, I didn't know what you was going to ask. I thought you'd at least ask me who's the best player I've ever played with. Is that not a question?
Martin?
Yeah.
Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Well, I feel like I've been steered down this course now. I thought that would have been a standard question.
It's not, no.
Do you think it... I mean...
Do you think it should be? Is that what you're asking?
I don't know. No, sort of like... I mean, I go back. The last year I played, I was 42 years old.
Yeah.
It was a shit season for Colts. I think we had one league win and a 0-0 draw. Ooh. And that was it for league points that season. We got relegated. I think they struggled to get 18 players each week in the ones. So I started playing again at the end of November, having been retired for about the 20th time.
Yeah.
Well, there's something else I want to talk to about as well.
All right.
Other favourite colour, because we only did lows, haven't we? My coffee and mine.
Okay. Do some more highs,
yeah, without a shadow of doubt, head and shoulders above anyone that I've ever played with, Alex Gallagher.
Right. Yes.
What a player. And to play with him in my last season of playing was a real treat. It's just, he's big, he's fast, great hands, and you can literally watch him and the game stops. It goes into slow motion. And yeah, so for me, that was a real, I mean, obviously at 42, I'm past my best there. I'm into the bigger shorts there in those days. And to be honest with you, these Lycra shirts, they're not really designed for a big man. So, yeah, I was definitely in some might say the twilight of me. I mean, the sun had truly set. I mean, it weren't just a twilight.
Gone.
Yeah, it was over. I was in the full moon of my career. But yeah, to have that season with them young lads there, it was great, and we had some good times losing basically everywhere.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of coaching Alex, as you know, for a season. Yeah, terrific player. Went on to do very well at Blackheath and tried at Rossin Park, but unfortunately injuries, I think, have got the better of him now. Hopefully one day he might manage to make a return, but he's still quite young. We'll see.
Yeah, and I don't know if people saw it recently. I'd put a post on about I think it was one of them Throwback Thursdays.
Oh yeah.
But I'd done it on a Friday because I was busy on the Thursday. About the day that obviously we had 2 All Blacks in the vets and South African captain.
But why don't you tell the listeners?
Well, I mean, I presume they follow the it was 2005-2006 season. I mean, this is going back to how the strangeness of my rugby career at Colts. I pretty much only played vets rugby or first 15. I didn't really do a great deal of the clubs, the teams on the in between. And we happened to be playing on the top pitch. That was at the time John Gallagher was a teacher at the school. So he was playing a lot of rugby for John Gallagher. That's World Cup winning.
Yes, John Gallagher won the 1987 World Cup for New Zealand, played fullback. Yeah.
And he brought Zinzan Brook down to play. So we played Old Beckahamians thirds, I think, and on the top pitch, while the first 15 were playing Richmond, captained by ex-Springbok captain Bobby Skinstad. So a lot of people come down, but then they migrated from the first team pitch up to the top pitch. Obviously, because it's not very often that you see 3 genuine legends of the game at Horn Park.
Yeah.
But also later on that season, when we played Richmond in the away fixture, final game of the season, I was back in the first team.
Yes.
Unfortunately, can you remember it?
Vaguely. Go on.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
It's one of my Colfeian highlights and a lot of other people's Colfeian highlight of me.
Okay, I think I know.
So we're...
It's to do with me as well, right?
Well, yeah, we're 60-odd nil down at half-time. It was a blisteringly hot day. It was like April, the end of April or something like that. Richmond have kicked off the second half. I have caught the ball. I have made like about a 40-metre break and fed the ball inside to Tim Tunnicliffe.
That's me.
Who has crashed over, and we've scored a try out of nothing. The place has gone wild, and I have ran off the pitch, jumped the side barrier onto the sort of like the gravel patch in front of the stand, doing sideways clapping at the pitch. And yeah, it was marvellous. I mean, they went on to score another 40 points. I don't think we lost by 100. We lost like 98-7 or something like that. But it was an amazing experience, you know, and one that should be celebrated. If you score a try, because although Colfs, sometimes we got fucking annihilated, we always scored the best try of the game, even if it was one odd one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember trying to get back up off the floor because, you know, it was quite a long way to run to support, you know, your winger out wide.
And that's it. I think I was playing 12 that day.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was in the corner though, wasn't it?
It was in the corner, left-hand corner. Near left-hand corner, stand side.
Yeah. Yes, I remember it.
Yeah. And I can remember looking at the eye contact that I made in the stand. The first 2 people were obviously Richmond supporters through and through. It was an old couple, looked in their late 70s type thing. They absolutely loved it. They was pissing themselves laughing.
Yeah, so singing in the clubhouse is something that I've always, you know, when that happens, I think of you.
Oh, there's another low point as well. I've just thought of it when you said the word clubhouse.
Go on. So there's one song that always reminds me of you. Do you want to?
Well, this is where you probably, and he makes me sing it all the time, Ollie Chapman, and I fucking hate it. He always makes me sing Neil Sedaka, Calendar Girls. Is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah.
That's the one. So, I mean, despite the fact I hate it, I do sing it, you know, for 20 odd years, because it's easy. It's short. It don't go on too long. If you know the months of the year, you know the words to be included in it.
Yeah. It's a good sing-along.
And you can sing along, that's it. And the other one that's sort of like in recent years that I would say that I've possibly been associated with, but I don't sing it, would be Dancing on the Ceiling by Lionel Richie.
Well, why is that? Martin?
Well, because generally if we're coming home on a bus from the game, Lionel Richie, Dancing on the Ceiling would come on, and then I would I would launch myself up into the luggage racks and go along the length of the coach in a commando style, except I'm really heavy now and I can't hold myself up. So
luggage racks.
So the young kids, it's a bit like a stage dive. So the young kids would hold me up, support me, and pass me along whilst we're all singing to Lionel.
Amazing. Win or lose. Yeah, makes no difference.
Yeah, it don't make no difference. It literally don't make no difference, because we ain't really playing for anything. Even if you do get promoted, you're just playing a lot of the same teams that you already played.
Yeah.
And the results are the same, you know. And if you get relegated, you're still playing a lot of the teams that you've already played. So it don't make much difference.
What a lovely way to end.
Thanks.
So thanks once again to Martin, although he did give me some issues during the edit. His big bellowing laugh spiked the audio so much that you'll probably have suffered some kind of burst eardrum if I hadn't gone through and quietened them all down in post-production. Martin talked with great fondness there about his time at Old Colfeians, who are a great club and cater for all players no matter what age or gender. If you live in South East London, then I'd love to have you, yes you, as a new member. Visit ocrfc.co.uk to find out more details, and I will link that up in the show notes below. If you've enjoyed this podcast, you could like, comment, share and subscribe. What I'd really like is if you mention it to someone in person the next time you're down your local rugby club. I'll be back with you next week when my guest will be Vicky Fleetwood. Vicky, the Saracens and England star, has had a fantastic career so far, including an extended spell in the England 7 setup. It was great to chat to her and get her take on the women's side of the game. The sun is slowly setting here in Ljubljana, so there's a nice bar approaching on the left-hand side. I think I might just go there and have a little pint before I make my way home. So until next week, get out and play.